Good evening and welcome to Midweek from the Manse. My name's David, I'm the minister here at Erskine Parish Church, and this broadcast for a change is now coming from the Manse. As you can see behind me, there's the Erskine Bridge. I'm about halfway up the Kilpatrick Hills. I decided to enjoy a bit of the creation, a bit of exercise, and try and work off some of the magic pounds and stones that have been appearing around my waistline since lockdown started. So tonight I thought I would get out and I'd present from here. We have a couple of things for you tonight. We're in our question and answer format, but it's a little bit different, as I always say. Thank you for those of you that have submitted questions. Rest assured, I was waiting until I had a couple of listener questions, viewers' questions, to do a full broadcast of them. So, Lord willing, next week I'm going to be taking another couple of your questions. I just got the last one today. But tonight, what I'm going to do is, we did this a few weeks ago. My oldest son, Finley, he actually came up with a few questions for me, and he likes to fire 2 or 3 at the one time. So the first thing we're going to see tonight is Finley throwing some questions at me. And then after that, I've got a little experiment that me and Victoria did with the twins, with our youngest, and there's a bit of a model lesson with that one too, it turns out. So firstly, enjoy a pre-record of me trying to answer some of Finley's questions.
No.
So you've been on this channel before, Finley, haven't you?
Yes.
Did you like it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what did you do the last time you were here?
I was reading new questions.
And you decided you want to do that again?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think the last questions were too hard or not hard enough?
I would say it's a middle.
In the middle? Okay, and what about tonight's questions? How hard are they?
Thumbs up.
Okay, right. Okay, well, without any further ado, do you want to get cracking on your questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Why did God make dinosaurs?
Why did God make dinosaurs? Wow, that's a good question. Do you think, are you asking why did he make dinosaurs as opposed to all the other things he made and animals he made?
No, just why did he make dinosaurs by himself?
By himself?
Yeah. How did he make dinosaurs?
How did he make them?
Yeah, how did he make them?
Well, he must have made them the same way we're told that he made everything else, by speaking, and because what he says is powerful, he can make stuff with it, with what he says.
Okay.
So why did he make them? I would venture a guess as to a bit like lions and tigers. They're similar to that in that they would show how awesome and powerful God is because he's able to make something that incredible.
Hey, can I tell you once? Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
You know crocodiles were in the dinosaur times and they're still alive here?
Yes.
That's amazing.
That is amazing, isn't it? Yeah, they
maybe they're
didn't
just
get extinct. Can you put that down so people can see your face?
So next question?
Oh, I thought you were telling me about crocodiles.
Okay, next question.
Okay.
How can God be everywhere? How can he be everywhere?
Really good question. Well, you know some of the answer to this. Put your card down. So if I ask you, what is God? What would you say?
Infinite, eternal, and unchangeable.
Yes, that's from your shorter catechism. So you already know these are what we call the attributes of God, the things that through the Bible we know are true about him. And no, don't touch that or it'll stop the recording. So one of God's attributes is he's infinite. Do you know what infinite means?
No.
Okay. It means that, you know how when you go to watch one of your TV shows, an episode of it,
Yeah.
how long does it last? An episode of Teen Titans?
5 minutes.
About 5 minutes. Okay. So after 5 minutes, what happens?
It ends.
It ends. So that's because everything we do and that we have is it's in time, and that means time has a beginning, middle, and end. But God's not like that. God's outside of time, so he never had a beginning. He's never going to have an end, and that means that just like time can't give him any boundaries, also space can't. So he's bigger than space, and he's also everywhere in space because he's not like you and me, which can only be in one place or space at one time. I know, that's amazing, right? You okay? I didn't know you loved the camera that much. Okay, so does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
It does. I'm shocked that you knew all about that.
Well, that's kind of what they pay me for.
Last question. Why did God make the virus to hurt people?
Oh, that's a very good question that some people are asking just now. You've asked me about this a few times, so this obviously really kind of bothers you. I'm actually going to push back on your question because it has what's called a false premise. So that means that you said in your question there's a bit of it that actually isn't fair or true. Because in your question you said, why did he make the virus to hurt people? So you're assuming you knew that God made the virus to do that. But that's actually a false assumption,
Yes.
which I'll hopefully prove.
He started the virus in China.
Okay, right. There's a few things muddled up there. So let's try and get them less confused. So,
Sorry.
it's okay. So we know that God made everything. And how did God create everything? What was everything like once he'd made it? In the garden?
Very nice.
Nice, or as the Bible calls it, very good. Yeah?
Yeah. Sort of when I was like 3 and when I saw my cousin, his house looked very good, but I when we were living in Stornoway, I don't really know why there was so much water near us. That's quite strange to answer.
What do you mean, like the water in the sea?
Yeah.
Well, we were on an island.
Yeah, but okay, let's just get back to the questions.
Well, what were you meaning by that, though?
Well,
About God making things good?
yeah, but I don't know why God made the water.
Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of interesting because water can be, in the Bible, mean that things...
Wait, I know why he made water and when the first 2 people were on Earth, so they can drink it from the lake.
Yeah, and what's also amazing is that we see quite often when it's stormy and you can see a little boat on the water and it's struggling and there's like water can be scary in that way.
Never saw that in real life, but
You must see it on TV.
yes, and Elsa.
And Elsa and
Her
Frozen.
mum and dad, they were in a struck of lightning and they, sunk and they died.
Okay, so the waters quite often can be scary, but what we see in Genesis 1 at the start of creation is God is in charge of the waters and he tells them where they go and where they have to stay because he's more powerful than them. So God brings order where before there was like no, like you like to use the word stability. God was making things stable in the world where it wasn't like that before. And God made everything, but we quite often make a mess of the good things that God's made. That's what happened in the garden. Remember how things went wrong in the garden?
What garden are you talking about?
The garden where the first two humans were.
Oh yeah, they ate poisonous apples.
Well, we don't know if it was poisonous,
but I don't know what actually happened to them because I can't really remember. It was a long time.
Okay. Right. It was a long time since we've done that story at night. Okay. But things went wrong. And what we've been seeing ever since they did that in the world is even though we have a good creation, you need to stop doing that because of the noise. Humans keep spoiling it and making a mess of it. And what I explained to you before was that something a bit like that happened in China. So China's an amazing country full of really great people, but the virus started there somehow. We don't exactly know how. And because humans made not very good or kind decisions, it was allowed to spread out and make more of it. So it's not so much that God made and did things that to harm a lot of people. That's an example of when we make a mess of things by being humans and sinners. Yeah. What?
Get back.
That is the question.
Oh, that was the question.
Yeah, so I was saying to you that it wasn't so much, God made all the stuff in the world and is in control of it, but he's also given us the ability to make decisions about the stuff in the world. And sometimes we do that and it leads to more people being hurt. So God didn't harm people through that, but people did.
So should we say bye now?
You want to say bye now?
Yeah.
Do you think we've done enough? Have I answered your questions?
Yes. That's it.
Do you have any more questions?
Well, I've got... yes, I have. I've got one more question, but it's not on this.
That's fine.
Okay. Why did God make people?
Why did God make people? So you mean because he could have just made everything else but not people?
No. Why do people make more people, like babies, and then they grow up old and then they have like grandchildren? How does that work?
Oh, because when God made the first people, at the end of the story in Genesis 1, he's told those people, look, I want you to enjoy the blessing and the gift of family. So have babies, have more families, and enjoy, because us having relationships in our family is actually a gift from God. And it's actually because how many persons are in the Godhead?
3. God the Father, Jesus the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
And these 3 are
one God.
So what that means is they are in a relationship together, and they have been from all eternity, and they love one another. And I think God wanted us to know something about that, and something like that like he has always had in eternity, so that we'll know that blessing of having relationships with one another. I think that's why he made us and made us in families. Because it's a gift from him.
Wow, that's all my questions done.
Okay.
Bye!
Okay, bye guys. Thanks for that, Finlay. He always keeps me on my toes. Some of you have actually submitted questions about the kinds of things kids ask, and kids really do ask the most incisive questions. They're not bothered by the parameters of what they think they can and can't ask. So I really love Finlay's question. I love other kids' questions. So some people have sent in ones their kids have asked. Please, if your kids ask you any questions and you'd like to see them, or they would like to see them answered, perhaps not perfectly, but certainly for me to have a go at them, please do feel free to fire them in. Kids' questions really are just powerful. They're amazing. So that was Finlay's questions. I hope I did a half decent job of answering some of them. Next, okay, me and Victoria, we heard about this game that you can do with kids, and it's kind of a social experiment. It's a bit of fun. What we did is, I've heard it called the donut test. Sometimes people use donuts for it. It's, you set them up in a room, you give them instructions that they're sweeties and that they can't touch them, and if they can delay touching them and not eating them until we come back in the room, then there's a prize in store for them. So we decided to try this with the twins, and you'll see us setting it up. We wanted to see what the result would be. We obviously tucked away a camera, which I think Isaac definitely found, but regardless, here's our little experiment with the twins.
Okay, Mummy and Daddy are just going to go out the room, okay? We've got to go get something, but we don't want you to touch the sweeties till we come back, okay? So we want you to keep there, no touching the sweeties, and if you cannot touch them, then you'll get a big surprise when we come back, okay? So no touching the sweeties.
Okay, you understand, guys?
We'll be back in a minute.
Okay, see you in a bit.
Okay?
Are you playing this one before?
No, but you'll find out after what the surprise is, as long as you do, as long as
No
you're
touching the
no
sweeties.
touching. Okay.
What's he not touching the sweeties? Or else you get a big round touch the sweeties. Okay. Wait, so many sweeties you got. 1, 2. Don't count. No, else I'm not getting big trouble. No, don't touch. Huh? Don't open. Mom, the door open.
Oh dear, I'll close it.
Shoot. That's us. Mom and Dad in the room. I want to see Mom and Dad.
How did you get on?
Yeah.
Did anybody eat any sweeties?
No.
Really?
No, did you not?
No.
Well done! High five!
Good job.
Well done! Now you
find
can
out.
have the sweeties.
That's a surprise. Well done, guys.
Yay!
Well, thanks to the twins for being good sports, and Victoria actually for the idea and taking part in that. It was really good fun to do, and I was, I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised, if not completely shocked. Victoria and I both said if we were betting people, we would have put money on the fact that Isaac would have gobbled them up. It was quite a shock. It was out of character to us. I think what we were so pleasantly surprised by was that test is supposed to be all about delaying gratification. Can you put off what would be immediately satisfying for the bigger prize in the end? And you know, we didn't do it to teach them anything. We were trying to have a bit of fun with the lockdown. But I learned a lot from it. I always learned from the kids. And I learned that you know, even the smallest of children can have a goal and a vision for something that they would like to see in the future, and they can even turn aside from temporary enjoyment to reap the rewards of something more long term. Sometimes some of us really struggle with that. What it really spoke to me about just now is many of us are just dying to get back into church. We really want to get back in and see our friends, and we're in a period of waiting. I think it'd be fair to say in a period of longing to be back there. And it actually gave me a bit of encouragement and a bit of hope. I kind of thought, if they can do that, they're so small and they understand so little at this stage, but they have an awareness of how good something can be if we can just wait for it a little while. It certainly encouraged me just to try and hold out and have a bit more patience, as difficult as it is, and it also continues to give me hope and longing and a looking forward to what we can enjoy when we're back in church and we're amongst one another and we're back to in many sense what we were made for, to enjoy worshipping God together, to enjoy the pleasure. In the meantime, I suppose we all have to just make do with whatever we can enjoy, wherever we are, whether that finds us enjoying time with friends on the phone or otherwise, if we can get out in the garden or do some exercise, I think that's a really good thing to do. So thanks for tuning in this week. Let's hope this weather continues, and let's hope it's not too long before we can all be together again. But next week I'll crack on with your questions, and we hope to see you Sunday morning where we continue with our series on James. God bless.